with our own little people, and we forget that we're part of a larger movement that is happening in the Redemptress world, and this is a great reminder of just the various ministries and activities and commitments that people have. It's powerful, and it's very moving.
And to be part of the larger Redemptress family, and I know that Paul the Park has not just been nice to me for the last couple of years, and to be part of, we're part of a 2,000-year-old institution, but to be part of, again, another larger, beyond ourselves, is very humbling. It's very humbling.
I think it's the right time. I was a vocation for the Denver province for 7 years and tried to recruit vocation for Redemptress, and getting harder and harder. And I think we have more vocation from the Vietnamese communities than even the European, Anglo-American, and the other group. But again, if we just depend on professed Redemptress missionaries, then you have to close the company, the institution. But I think I shared with my group yesterday that Redemptress always is ahead of the game. Even though it sounds like very confusing here and it seems like what we're doing is kind of late or something, we're still ahead of so many congregations right now. A lot of congregations right now, they're waiting to die and just turn the light off and walk away. But we still working, and we still try to find the way. And I think this is one of the ways to reach out. And I have a lot of hope here. And then even to sit here, some of us maybe can have a very little experience or relationship or whatever with the Redemptress. But I see some very, very rich connection with Redemptress. For example, I'm thinking about actual patron here. This is just a small number of representatives of you call co-redemptors, you call whatever you want to call, but they have a whole, I don't want to say team, but even a whole, whatever, like a military, you have a whole
army.
I mean, they can't survive without the lay people. And they support financially, they support spiritually, they all in. And with that, they're not here. And so I think we need to just look beyond ourselves, and hopefully this secretariat will help us to do this. And I remind my group too, don't do this for one Redemptress in your local parish. Don't do this even for the Redemptress. Do this for the church, and do this for the people of God.
In Thailand, here in North America or in Europe, I've been hearing a lot of not negative but pessimistic kind of voice. Well, we're not having any vocations anymore. Our conference are getting old, and how we can take care of them. It's just pessimistic. Even to the point when provincial said, "Oh, we just try our best until we die. Just waiting there to die." But yet, when you belong to, you have connection with a wider Redemptress family. You see a lot of energies out there. It's just growing and just fascinating, and that gives you hope. Same thing over here. Even though each unit has a different secretariat for PIM, and a lot of volunteers, a lot of co-partners doing with the Redemptress, but yet this gives, at least to me, a very unique experience that we are here together, and that the Redemptress have the lay people around us to support us in many ways, and that's very positive, and that we together can move forward. I don't know how we can move from here. Where do we go from here? One joke told me that we can go back to you.
Hi, Denver.
Outside of proposals, there is kind of a question about, is this meant to drum up business, and into lay associates, like sometimes in Redemptorist parishes, people know very little about the Redemptorists, and my own parish in Kansas City, which is called and referred to as Redemptorist Church, their loyalty really is to the parish, So that dynamic of, because there was a discussion about, well, there's a lay missionary who now lives in Kansas City, and she tried to hook up with the Redemptorists there, and they weren't all that receptive, things. I just have that question. One of our suggestions was to locate the Redemptorist lay missionaries and kind of make contact with them, and how modern technology can sort of, create that link again to the community, even though, the Redemptorists have moved or the missionary has moved or things like that. Because we've given up a lot of places over the last few years. The other thing was, could we include, as part of that, a lay associate section, for example, in our Denver link, that would have a reflection or questions or things like that, it would just be this ongoing thing. That would be not only for the lay associates, but for the Redemptorists. A big piece of it for us was the formation of the Redemptorists, the professed community, because, I feel like I have to defend the conferers a little bit. We assume things about the conferers, that they won't respond or they're not good at responding, and my experience of Redemptorists is if you give them a challenge, they'll step up to the plate. But I think up to now it's not been. Very few Redemptorists have had experience with lay associates or otherwise. They don't know what it is, all those sorts of things. So we've already started on our EPC level to discuss how we're going to sort of bring Redemptorists on board, because that really is our responsibility, the unit leadership and things like that to get that going. But we've already had experience in, the Denver province of forming lay missionaries without that wider support, and they went without any kind of Redemptorist support for years. Well, that's not on them. That's on, the unit and, what it's done to form its members in this new vision. So we have to really get cracking on that. Is there some way that older confers could be called upon to participate in virtual circles of associates? Because there's some way we could plug them into a process to just include them more and more into this.
All good stuff. The one thing that John, all the Denver things were terrific. That question about the parishes and how some people are so invested in the parish. That's a great insight when it comes to what's a Redemptorist associate. There's a real difference between the parish ministers, the people involved in the parish, committed to the parish, that wider work at the church, but in the parish. There's a difference between the people then who are really connected, seeing the world through the Redemptorist way. And what you point out is brilliant. That's exactly it. That's what you're looking for. And we often think we're being exclusive when we invite Redemptorist associates, but that's not what you're looking for. Is those people who have that different attachment, not so much to the parish. They might be using the parish as their vehicle, but the spirituality, the inclinations, the longings are Redemptorist. And I think that's a really good distinction. Anyway, that's...
We're at the very beginning. And so it's baby steps for us. And we discussed how the few of us who are here need more formation before we're ready to recruit. And so we have plans to do reading and more formation. And in that time, look for people who want to also be. We have lots of people in our parish who are doers, and they do it as was already brought up for the parish. And we have to form people to want to be Redemptorists, as well as do what they are. And I don't know if I've left anything out.
No, I had, thought, and how do we discern who those associates are? And I said, we would be willing, the four of us with lots of study and Father Parker's help, to have a class on St. Alphonsus and redemptive spirituality. Because I've said for years, you guys don't toot your own horn. Okay, I got it. That's not who you are. Let us toot it for you. Most people know Jesuit spirituality. Okay, and it didn't come out of the air. Someone is putting it out there, and you all don't put it out there enough. Let us do that for you. And then those people who come up after a class like that and go, I'm really interested. That would be a good way to discern those people who are interested in not just the parish mission, but the more important mission of the Redemptorist.
Before the extra patron vice province was approved from Rome, we had our Vocation Support Association that was set up in 1982. So we've had the laity helping the Redemptorists even before the extra patron was set up in 1984. So we've had collaborators since 1982, and we just celebrated the 35th anniversary of people helping for all this time. So what we've decided that we're going to do a gathering of all collaborators, and we've set a date for May the 11th through the 13th, that whole weekend. So we're going to start publicizing it through our media, which is our monthly magazine, our radio program, which is a daily radio program, our weekly television broadcast, and our bookstores. So we're going to create a flyer, put it out, and make the announcements. And then we're going to call all the people who have collaborated in all those industries, in the media ministries. We have an annual Divine Mercy conference that we put out at the Long Beach at the Pyramid, which hosts about 5,000 people. So all the collaborators that come in to help that also are going to be, we're going to call them to come in to help. And then we have our Mother Perpetual Help Confraternity. We're going to call them in. And the Vocation Support Association, which we started in 1982, that's a huge group that's been helping put all of our brothers and our future priests and Redemptorists through. And Our Lady Perpetual retreat that we do in the end of June. All those collaborators, we're going to extend all the invitation for them to come. And our retreat center, all the people there, we're going to invite them to come. So what we're going to do is that we're breaking it up into regions. We're going to have a section from Houston, section from Dallas, all those from California, and then people. We're breaking it up in the 6 people that we have right here with Father Dominic leading us for them to start contacting the people. And then that's what we're setting up. And we have a deadline of April 15th for them to register. And once they register, they're just going to come in. We have a retreat house for them to stay at. And then the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're just going to hold a retreat and let them know what's going on, what we're doing, and then invite them to join and become a lay missionary. So.
Well, we felt like the whole time that we've been here, it's been a moment of invitation and being drawn in. So many of us, Life Directions was started in 1973, and many of us have worked there, been a part of it for a long time. I think David was doing the Word of Life with Father John for 40 years now. And so when we came here, it was like it was like hearing the echo of the spirituality of Life Directions coming from the Redemptorist. And so we recognize something very familiar, and people want to know more. And I think, when we think about how do we see ourselves contributing to the establishment of circles of Redemptorist associates, we think Life Directions has a lot to offer the unit. And Father Tat was explaining that some of the priorities right now are human trafficking, immigration, and refugees and youth. And our primary purpose is to work with youth and young adults. And so we see the problems affecting youth every day. And because of the communities that we're in, we also see the whole immigration and refugee crisis and how the whole thing with DACA has put a whole community on edge as they, it's sort of like, we could come here as life directions and go, aren't we Redemptorists too? But these students are going, hey, aren't we Americans too? We've only been living here since we were 4. So we feel that we have those experiences to offer the unit, and we even get into human trafficking. It's not like an everyday thing, but there are students that we meet that have been trafficked or know somebody that's being trafficked or a house that is doing, not great things. And so we feel that we're doing the mission every day. And so the things that we look forward to in the future is sort of meeting once a month. Our main things that we want to study first off, and we just started this morning with 7:15. We got the
The first email.
the first email of the 25th chapter, and I was really impressed with it. It's very simply written, and it's very it's very forthright in how lay associates and lay partnerships are really integrated into the vision of the chapter. And so I was really impressed with that. And you just saw yesterday in the pictures of what happened in Thailand, of the energy that it gave not only to the people in Thailand, but the people that went to Thailand. And I think Life Direction's awful because we're not parish-based, so we work with people that are different from us. And the whole story about how Thailand was working with people that aren't of the same faith, and that the Catholic faith is a minority, but they're able to work with people of goodwill. And Life Directions also does that, so it works with more than just Catholics. And then the other document that we want to study is In the Spirit of St. Alphonsus, because Tat said it was a good book to start with. And so that's kind of where we want to start with. And then the other thing that I think is really important, and I think Father John was talking about it, when one of the things that we've heard is, well, there's no Redemptorists in Detroit, but there's a lot of Detroit in Redemptorists. so what we want to do is use the technology to find those Redemptorists that were born and formed in Detroit, and reconnect with people in Detroit that are doing some of the things that they'll be encouraged that people are doing now that they're not there. And so I think that with technology and with just the spirit, a can-do spirit, we can do a lot of great things together. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It was raised about the distinction between parish and redemptorist. The focus on mission is a really important thing to keep, and that's really key in yours. You've got a clear mission, right? And that you see it now as a redemptorist connection, and look for the continuing foundation is brilliant.
So we're going to try to provide formation. Is that loud enough? Yes. Okay. To the new circle that's being formed in Vancouver. And David Louch is going to try to help get the Toronto circle up and running again. And we talked about in Saskatoon maybe getting a younger circle of young people together. And in the French-speaking region, we talked about possibly doing something in the different regions there, the 2 different regions there. We also talked about putting together a website. I should say that Mario has a website already started, and he's going to put all the documents from this retreat on that website, and we can think about putting other things up there as well, and he's going to have it in French and English.
I think we've heard from every unit, and each unit has something distinct and responding to local situations and what the reality is. I think that's brilliant. Mario does have a website almost ready to go. And so what we will do, as soon as the website goes live, you're all on the email list. If you got the 25th General Chapter, you're on the email list. So we will send you a notice. The first follow-up you'll hear from us will be that the website's up and live, and that everything that was presented at this retreat is available to you there. And so what Mario is going to do is all the video he's been taking, he'll chop up into bite-sized portions so that you can use it for yourself, or you can use it for the formation of some of those Redemptorist associates. I think if you thought about the last 4 days, you probably have 4 months of material, if not more. So there's something there that you'll be able to use for yourself, for the formation of your coordinating group, and for associates. So the first step will be that you will have a website and resources that will be available to you. The other question we actually had in our group was, would it be helpful to have a North American Facebook page for Partners in Mission? That could be done. So what I could do is get that set up, and then I'll invite you, and you can get other people who you know to like the page or come onto the page. So it's wonderful to have had you here. We'll bring all this together in Eucharist, but the only thing to say is thank you.